Hotel brothers and sisters, Black Power. As always, giving honor to the Creator, giving honor to the ancestors. My sister, Chief of Staff, Brother Harris Abdul. My in-laws, my father. All my subscribers, viewers, comrades, family, and all those that are fighting for the liberation and salvation of our black nation. As always, I've been giving sending my energy and hoteps and black powers to Melissa McKinney in hopes that we can be able to assist her more than we are assisting her now in locating these devils that took the life of her son, Donye Jones, who was lynched, tortured and lynched, castrated, pants pulled down. And I'm going to stay on this particular subject matter because this is one lynching too many. And we continue to let this shit happen in the black community without any type of repercussion or responses. Fuck holding these goddamn, CNN talking about and discussing the matter and trying to analyze motherfucking white supremacy. Mind fucking the people. Mind fucking the black people in the black community that are asleep and that are unconscious, making them believe that they're not the culprits or they're doing something about it, which is bullshit. When have they done anything about the lynchings and tortures and brutal murders that have taken place in the black community with our young brothers and sisters? Sandra Bland, Mike Brown, and many, many others who have been victims of Aryan Brotherhood, KKK, Ku Klux Klan terrorism. And I don't give a fuck how you put it. And these devils have the nerve to come up and show and have these shows, these motherfucking cop shows, live PD and all this bullshit, and trying to make the people believe that these motherfuckers are not set out ruthless motherfucking missionaries to murder black people all over the fucking planet. You should be angry about this shit every single fucking day. You should be hurt. Because this can easily happen to someone in your family. And I don't know why you motherfuckers think that it won't. You better wake up and understand. And we have to get to the level when they hurt one of us, they've hurting all of us. It's the same way with these crackers. When one of these crackers are murdered, they clog up the goddamn airways and networks. They force you to sympathize and be compassionate to their goddamn needs. So we got to wake up out of this bullshit. And every time I see this brother hanging on those knots, those military tied knots, which most policemen have prior military experience. And so, what black man will pull his own pants down, castrate himself, and then lynch his motherfucking self? You see, you niggas, you goddamn devils had the nerve to say it's a goddamn suicide. Does this look like a suicide? Let me move on to the subject matter that I wanted to talk about, as far as you know, the Nation of Islam and other organizations, religious organizations and movements, black men, women, and black organizations and movements on how they are linked to white supremacy in so many ways. They are linked to white supremacy. And I'm going to show you a few things today. Now, Minister Farrakhan, and let me say this for the record. I'm not bashing anyone, but I'd be damned if I'm going to cease in telling the truth about anything or anybody. If it sounds fucked up, but it's true, deal with it. Fucking deal with it. So I'm going to talk about, discuss the matters, how Minister Farrakhan dealt with Brother Khalid Muhammad's situation. Now, I'm just going to get straight to the point. You know, in 1993, Dr. Khalid Muhammad, who was one of our most bravest black men on the planet, who was taken out of here. One of the most bravest black men on the planet, who was murdered. That he made a speech in King College in 1993 talking about the so-called white imposter Jew and how the Oppenheimers and the Beers and the Goldsteins, Rubensteins and Silversteins, you know, how they stole gold, diamonds, and silver from Africa. And in the process, having our babies, little African babies in those gold mines. And if they got caught with any type of gold dust, their arms and legs and hands were amputated. And so when Dr. Khalid spoke on that at King College, Minister Farrakhan immediately suspended him, which supposed to have been temporary, but it turned into permanent. And that crushed Dr. Khalid Muhammad. And I'm just telling the truth and being honest. It crushed him. But it didn't keep him down. Dr. Khalid kept fighting and fighting and fighting for black people all over the planet. Because he became the chairman of the new Black Panther Party. And which was the beginning of the end for Dr. Khalid. But nevertheless, he only spoke on what he was taught by Minister Farrakhan. And so when, by Khalid being a warrior, outspoken, thorough warrior that was non-compromising with any fucking devil and any nigger, the ADL and the JDL, Abraham Fox and Herb Rubin, called Minister Farrakhan and made Minister Farrakhan suspend Khalid. This was the same situation with Malcolm and Elijah Muhammad. Now, this may be your first time hearing this, but Malcolm was not merely put out of the nation or suspended merely for talking about Dr. Elijah Muhammad's infidelity. See what it was when Malcolm began to speak on blacks being the indigenous people in this country, that we were the true black natives. We were the real black Indians. We were the real true Indians. We were in this country before anyone. And when he began to take that approach, which contradicted the teachings of Elijah Muhammad. That's when the tension began to build, because it's no secret that when Malcolm came to the nation, membership, quadrupled over and over, and which created a lot of jealousy from members in the nation that were there just to purely move up in the ranks and also hustle and make money. And Malcolm was not hustling. Malcolm was true to the game. He had secondhand furniture, secondhand clothing. Him and his family. That's how dedicated he was to the nation and to Elijah Muhammad. But see, when you are dealing through backdoor transactions with white supremacy, then people like Malcolm and Dr. Khaled, they do not fit in. And in order for organizations and movements to keep their status with white supremacy, they have to remove those who are true to black liberation. Now, it's no secret that Farrakhan was highly jealous of Malcolm, very highly jealous. Called him all types of traitors, created the environment and created the intense atmosphere to have Malcolm murdered. Now, let's look at this. If he admitted that he played a part in Malcolm's murder, and everybody knows that the FBI and the NYPD were the main culprits in Malcolm's murder, what did that tell you about Minister Farrakhan? As you can see, both of them right there. Now this devil here is L. Ron Hubbard, the fucking devil that created this Scientology bullshit, in which Minister Farrakhan endorses Scientology to its members and to black people in general. And Scientology is nothing but a satanic fucking cult that deals with the transformation of your thinking. It's a fucking cult. A white cult. Tom Cruise, John Travolta, and many, many other devils. Will Smith, Jada Pinkett, Willow and Jaden. That's why they're so confused. And Will and Jada has begun to practice the gender switching with their own children based on the teachings and the influence that Scientology has on them. Now, the entire country is run off the Masonic order. The Masonic order runs this country. Always has and probably always will. From George Washington, and all the presidents, if you don't know, all the presidents were related. Somehow related. This is why the presidents are selected. They're not elected. They all are under the Masonic order. And most presidents are Masons. And so you have 3 levels of Masons. You have Prince Hall Masons, which is a predominantly black lodge. Then you have the Scottish Rites Mason and the York Rite Masonic Lodge. York Rite is primarily for dignitaries. Scottish Rites is for primarily, I'll give you an example. If you ever saw a policeman's funeral or a fireman's funeral, you'll see the bagpipes and skirts that they wear. That's a Scottish Rite ceremony. And so all these religions are tied up under the Masonic order. Now, this is the two-headed eagle, which represents a 33rd degree Mason. You know, your presidents, your court judges, and other people among the judiciary, executive branches of government are 33rd degree Masons. This devil here, Albert Pike, KKK, a pure white supremacist who founded and personified the Masonic Lodge. Now I'm going to read you, what the what the Masons believe. That Lucifer, they believe in Lucifer, and that's who they follow. Lucifer is their God. Lucifer is the light bearer. Meaning, for example, the light can hurt. For example, if you're taking a picture and the flash is overwhelming and it becomes too bright, the light becomes too bright, you have a distorted picture. And so let me read something that this devil said. He said the brothers of the 32nd, 31st, and 33rd, 32nd, and 31st degree Masons, Masonic religion should be maintained in the purity of the Luciferian doctrine. And that's who the the Masons believe. That's what they follow, Lucifer. Now, if you look at this picture here of the Baphomet, you see the Baphomet on one side, and the other side is George Washington, sitting in the Baphomet symbol. And, the Luciferian doctrine. If you don't believe me, follow and study the Masonic religion. And it teaches you about Luciferian. And the Masons are who runs the country. And if you don't believe, if you don't understand, or you're struggling to understand, you can look on your dollar bill and you can see the Masonic all-seeing eye and the Masonic symbolism in our currency. But they'll say, in God we trust, but they have taken an ancient pyramid from Kemet and put an all-seeing eye at the tip of the pyramid with the light beaming around it, representing Lucifer. Because and that's part of degrading, the degradation of degrading our ancient Kemetic ancestors. That's an insult. And that was to discredit our ancient Kemetic ancestors. Because if you look on my hat and you look at the symbol, the eagle symbol, you see it's totally different. And this is where they got that symbol from. Came from ancient Kemet. George G. M. James' book, Stolen Legacy, will break all of that down to you. Now, all of these religions, the Nation of Islam, the Moorish Science Temple, Scientology, Jehovah's Witness. All of these religions deal with Masonic ritual. They all deal with Masonic ritual. For example, this is a picture of Fard Muhammad, who they call Master Fard Muhammad. And the only time you hear the only two times you will hear the word master is on a slave plantation and in a Masonic lodge. Master Mason. And as you see, Dr. Collins, when he was a national spokesman, prior to being national spokesman for Minister Farrakhan, you see them standing. You see Farrakhan's son standing behind Farrakhan with his hands folded and a Masonic. If you can see it, if you can see his hands, you know, the symbolism, what he's representing with his thumbs together, that's a Masonic symbol. And Malcolm was aware of that. Malcolm practiced Masonic rituals himself with his right hand in the air, as you can see. But Malcolm was not an official Mason. On the other hand, Elijah Muhammad was, as well as Minister Farrakhan. They all are Master Masons. And another reason Muhammad Ali was not a Mason, but Muhammad Ali, prior to leaving the nation, after, he said that was the greatest mistake he made when he turned his back on Malcolm. When he turned his back on Malcolm, listening to Minister Farrakhan and others, stating that Malcolm was a traitor, Malcolm was an enemy to the nation, which was all propaganda, because Malcolm did not take the pledge. As you can see here, Elijah Muhammad with the fez, Master Mason. You may not be able to see that closely, but Muhammad Ali has a fez on as well. This is supposed to be Fard Muhammad. Now, let's break this down. They call him Master Fard Muhammad, who is a white man. There is no black in him. And you call the white man Master Fard Muhammad, who was a Master Mason. Now, these are three top flight officials in the Nazi Party sitting here being invited to Mos Mariam for Savior's Day. Now, why would you invite three Aryan Brotherhood, three Nazi motherfucking devils to an NOI function? For what purpose? And see, I'm getting ready. I'm going to break some more stuff down to you all. This is a blurred photo of Elijah Muhammad, Minister Farrakhan behind Elijah Muhammad, looking at Malcolm. Now, it's no secret, you know, that Elijah Muhammad's infidelity was not the reason Malcolm was murdered at all. Because When you deal with tradition, an African tradition, you know that, a man in some doctrine state and in some villages, in some countries, some African countries as well as here, that a brother can have more than one wife and can have concubines. Even if you read the Bible, Solomon and others have had more than one wife, have had several wives and concubines. So that wasn't the reason that Malcolm was really ejected. That was a reason. That was just a smokescreen. Malcolm was thrown out of the nation because Malcolm was going against the grain. Malcolm talked about the indigenous people in this country, that we were the first ones here in this country. And the things that Malcolm was saying contradicted the Nation of Islam's teachings. And see, by the Nation of Islam breaking bread with a lot of crackers, because that's what they do. This is what they'll do. They'll allow Minister Farrakhan to say the white man this and the Jew this and the white Jew this, they the blood suckers and all of this. But he's very, very close friends with a lot of so-called white Jews. And see, they allow them, like they do Sharpton and others, they allow them to make a certain amount of noise, as long as they don't put any action to work. Example, the Mike Brown, Trayvon Martin, Donye Jones. If Malcolm was living, Malcolm would have had troops of NOI soldiers in all these streets in America battling these motherfucking police. But see, they will allow Minister Farrakhan to make as much noise as he wants, long as he doesn't put anything in action. See, Malcolm wouldn't have went for this shit, all these killings and lynchings. He would have had those brothers in the street marching, tearing some goddamn police up. Because Malcolm was not in the back pocket of any of those Masons, any of those crackers, like Farrakhan is. Endorsing people to Scientology, a white supremacist organization. You are endorsing black people to Scientology. And you have not yet one time put those hundreds of thousands of brothers in the street to step to these motherfucking police. Because as long as you don't do that, they will allow you to make as much noise as you want. On the other hand, the same reason Khalid was ejected from the nation, because Khalid was non-compromising with the devils. And if Khalid was still in physical form, and he was the leader of the Nation of Islam, Khalid would have took it to the streets to these goddamn crackers, because he tried it at the Million Youth March, and he did it on his own when he became the chairman of the new Black Panther Party, when James Byrd was drugged several miles in a truck and his head popped off. Khalid took to the streets. And so they had to get rid of these brothers in order to stay bankroll fresh. And these are all the Masons here. Obama. You can see the Masonic order here. And see what happened. The reason why Farrakhan and Barack Obama was scrutinized for taking pictures with Minister Farrakhan is because they didn't want the masses of the people to know that Barack Obama was a 33rd degree Mason, that he is a believer in the Luciferian religion. So they had Barack Obama denounce Minister Farrakhan. But they are closer than brothers. As you can see, the whole Masonic order right here. Cornel West, Minister Farrakhan, Jesse Jackson, Tavis Smiley, the entire goddamn Mason, all of them are Masons. See, Cornel West, and they are allowed to make noises and, call themselves raising hell in these summits and these forums. But as long as no action is taken, they are allowed to run their mouths and yell to keep the people thinking that they are fighting in their best interest. This is the trickery that goes on in this motherfucking country. Al Sharpton and Minister Farrakhan, both are Masons. You see exactly what I'm talking about. When something happens, they allow fat ass Al, Fat Albert, to go out in the streets and holler that no justice, no peace bullshit, and then send the people home. As long as there's no action taken. See, they were pissed with Sharpton when Freddie Gray was murdered. Because them young motherfuckers was fucking police cars up and some more shit. And they thought the shit was about to pop off, that it was going to spread like wildfire from city to city. So they had to spank Al Sharpton. And see what they do to Sharpton. Every time he doesn't do what he's told to do, they will bring up the time that he wore wire for the FBI to help bring down the Genovese family on the RICO Act, on the drug conspiracy charge. Dr. King was a Mason as well. But what got Dr. King murdered is when Dr. King began to talk about the indigenous people, the indigenous black people here, the indigenous natives in this country. And the Vietnam War wasn't the only reason. That was the icing on the cake. That was the smoke screen as well. But the real reason was because he went against the grain of the Luciferian religion and started talking about the indigenous black people in this country. That's what got Dr. King murdered.